Welcome to the Out on a Limb podcast. We are all interconnected to a greater web of consciousness. Our aim is to open your mind to a new world through having open-minded discussions about what we perceive our reality to be.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Out on a Limb podcast with your hosts, Will and Allison. Samantha, I think, has just gotten home from her travels, but you may notice a few other differences besides the fact that Samantha is absent. We don't have mics, we don't have a table.
No.
We don't have a tree behind us.
It looks different behind us a little bit. The wall's different, yes.
And that is because we have been in the middle of a huge transition, a bit chaotic, a bit stressful, but big changes underway here at the Treehouse. First of all, our dedicated event space, the room over our garage that we rehabbed and created the Treehouse in, and where we were recording from, is going to be put up for a private rental space as part of our eventual retirement plan.
Yep.
And so since our children are gone, we decided that we were going to take the entire upstairs of our home, which is on the same property and quite large enough to house a podcast and some small events, and recreate that space. All of the upstairs will now be our podcast space.
Yep.
And our event space, and maybe a meditation room, and whatever.
Whatever
right?
it might look like. Right now, phase one is complete. The treehouse is actually up for, I'll say, mid to long-term rentals. We're gearing that mainly towards executives, traveling nurses, and that kind of genre. And the upstairs room that we're sitting in is complete, so we can see clients, we can do other things, though the podcast, and that's kind of the reason why we're coming on and letting you know, we're going to be shelving that for a little bit, not permanently, just in a temporary state while we continue to do the upgrades here at the house to build out a dedicated, I'll say, podcast studio or podcast room that's going to look a little bit different than what we had before. So that's going to come in time, but yeah, we're not going anywhere. We're just going to take a little bit of a vacation while we rehab the upstairs. We've got 3 rooms that we have to go through now, and it's going to be a little bit of a journey on that too, but hey, it's part of the change.
Samantha is still interested in continuing the podcast as we are.
Yep.
We still have neat topics and things that keep coming up that we want to chat with you all about. And so we're just going on a temporary hiatus, perhaps through the end of the summer, maybe earlier. But we haven't even spoken to Samantha since she got back from her long trip to see how she's decompressing and what she learned.
All right.
And I'm sure she'll want to share that with all of you too.
Absolutely.
But we did want to just at least come on, since we have no more pre-taped episodes, and let you guys know what's happening.
I would say, we've right now, our last episode with Stephanie, that was episode 120. I mean, that's 120 episodes that we've recorded over the last year, or last 2 years.
2.5
Yeah, 2.5 years. So please go back and watch some of your favorites and comment on them and share them and do all the things, and even reach out to us. I mean, we'd love to hear your journey so far, or anything that's going on, and that helps us along the journey too of seeing how you guys are progressing, and with questions and so forth. And it also will probably open some doors for some topics once we get back behind the mics full time. So
there's always stuff happening out there that we want to talk about, and it's so much fun. The 3 of us, we really have missed Samantha being with us over the past couple of months as she's traveled. But there's been a lot of learning. I don't know how you all feel, but 2025 for us has been quite a roller coaster, with a lot of peaks and valleys, a lot of valleys, and a lot of learning that comes with that. I don't think the full realization has come quite yet regarding what kind of transition we're in right now.
Right.
When I tried to sit and tap into it in my frustration and tried to release some of that and release some of that stress and tune in to what my higher self really wanted me to know, I heard the words, let go, let go. And so I asked in response of the podcast, and when I brought that home to Will and to Samantha, they were like, no, not yet. Maybe down the road that might happen, but right now we still are interested. We're still enthusiastic about it. We still have things to talk about. We want it to be a part of our lives and yours. But we have certainly been letting go of a lot of other things. It's time to purge. We've been purging, spring cleaning, as they say. Doing a yard sale, getting rid of a lot of excess energy and baggage that, that weighs you down.
Yeah.
And what we were realizing is that, when change happens, it doesn't, all the beautiful things that are coming, they don't just knock on your door and say, hey, get rid of those things so we can come in and gift you all of these beautiful things. It waits for you to show signs that you're ready to let go of some of that stuff. Then the universe will gift you. But you have to make the first steps.
Yeah.
And so it was quite a shock the day that we decided we were going to stop the Treehouse events in the Treehouse proper.
Well, and I mean,
and rent that out.
It was, it's one of the things that we've learned over time, but it was a very harsh reality as this one set in, is that throughout this journey that we've been on with the business, it has its peaks and valleys. And when it has its valleys, we know that's time for us to decompress and just kind of catch our breath and rejuvenate a little bit. And then the clients start to pick back up. Well, this felt more like jumping into an abyss where we had no clients for several weeks, running into months, and then it began to look like, well, where have all the clients gone? And it didn't look like we were going to get any clients. It didn't look like anything was going to pick up. And that's where the stress starts to settle in, and you really are kind of put to the test of the faith of the universe and everything else. And it was a Wednesday morning that, after some anguishing moments, days prior, we both came to the realization that we're going to commit. We're going to, kind of take a leap of faith, and we're going to convert the Treehouse into that rental space. Allison left for work, and by the time she got home from work, the room you're sitting in, it was just basically a large living room on the second floor. By the time she got home, there was no carpet on the floor. Everything had been moved out, and prep was already being done on the walls for paint. It was a very rapid movement, and working between this space and the Treehouse simultaneously, as I was taking breaks on this, I'd go over there and do that.
So two major renovation projects at the same time.
Two major renovation projects all taking place over the course of 2 weeks. We really finished 2.5 weeks, maybe
2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks, yeah.
And that's not long.
No, 2.5 weeks. And so we completely reset the Treehouse to a rental space. It's now a full 1-bedroom studio apartment, and the space in our landing that we come up onto the second floor with. So, but what's interesting, as the finishing touches were being put on this room, and the finishing touches were being put on the Treehouse, getting to the point where we're getting ready to take pictures so we could list it, clients started picking back up. A few here, a few there, or inquiries, I should say. And even some tentative placeholders for people going to Egypt with us in December. So, it's the universe was like, okay, now it's time. Right. So now we're getting a little influx of clientele, which is great, and it is one of those learning moments of, the universe held everything off. I mean, really held everything off, turned the spigot off.
Until we figured it out.
Yeah. And we showed effort that this is what needs to be done. And I even had a moment, and one of the early days of up in the Treehouse, of starting to move stuff out of the Treehouse, where I went up there and I just stood in the middle of the Treehouse and had a very emotional moment of not being angry, but just voicing grief and voicing my concern that this was the right move, that this was the right thing. And I really threw it back at the universe and said, look, we're going to do this, and in an understanding that you have our back, you have our six, and you're going to take care of everything as it needs to be. And that, at that moment, it was a sense of relief that came over, where I just knew, okay, yep, this is all supposed to be exactly the way it's supposed to be. So as much as the house was in upheaval with, as many of you may have done renovations, there's stuff everywhere, and it's difficult, but yet, and stress, obviously. But now that we're nearing the end of, I'll say, phase one, and clients are starting to knock on the door again, it reminds me that, everything works out just the way it needs to be in universal timing, not human timing. So, and
continuing to trust. So that's
right.
Just a lesson that, healing is layered. And so it just keeps coming around again and again. And every time you think that you have it down, the universe throws it at you in another way. And so It is always about trust, as difficult as it is. And we want to be, we've always been open and vulnerable for you guys, because we want you to know that we struggle with those same types of things also.
Absolutely.
There's another piece of learning too, besides the trust aspect. But it just escaped me, because I was also thinking that what has happened also this week was that we lost Dasher,
that's right.
Our cat, who was almost 18 years old.
Yep.
And so we made the difficult decision on Wednesday of this week to take him to the vet and help him transition.
Yeah.
He had a long and wonderful life.
Yeah.
But, and he was actually the reason that we started the pet channeling in the first place.
Yep. Yep.
So it's been a really kind of stressful.
Right. And like
month.
I said, that during that moment or during that day, it's, as much as this work that we do with animals, and we speak with the animals' higher selves, and they reassure us about assisting them through transition, and if they if it's just too painful for them, or they just they'll let you know, and Dasher did. I mean, the spark was gone, and we just knew. And I even said to him, you're ready, aren't you? And you could tell. But yet it was so difficult emotionally to go through that process, and
even knowing what we know,
knowing what we know.
Yeah.
I mean, and that just goes to the bonds that we make with our animals, with our friends, with our family. We can go through the higher universal learning and trusting and all of that, but at the end of the day, we're still human. We still have emotions. We still have, emotional connections with our friends, our families, our pets, different animals. And so it's to take time to sit with that and just to let that emotion wash through you, because it really is a healing process. The grieving process is a true thing. So let that go through, and it's been interesting since then. A little funny, anecdote, I guess you could say, is over the last probably 5 years, 4 or 5 years, we've put up a baby gate, or a doggy gate, because it's not a full-size baby gate, but it's a doggy gate to keep a dog out of a room, because Dasher wouldn't jump over it. He would just kind of go up to it and back away.
Yeah, we didn't want him in our bedroom.
We didn't want him in our bedroom because of the accidents that he was having. So that's been there for 5 years, and we've stepped over it every morning, 3, 4, 5, 10 times a day. Well, we left it there for the next day, and it was just part of our life.
Right,
and so then after Allison left, I'm like, why do we have this gate here? So I took the gate down. Well, Allison comes home, instinctively goes to step over it without it even being there. So that's the conditioning that we go through as humans, right? So
yeah. I have to think about it now, walking in and not stepping my leg up. But crazy. But there is a lot of energy coming our way right now. There was a M8 something or other
just over the weekend, right?
But it was forward facing. It was earth facing, and so because of that, it caused a geomagnetic storm this week. You'll be watching this on Wednesday. I think that was on Monday. So take care of yourselves. Make sure you're getting grounding, lots of water, salt baths if you need it. Allow emotions to rise up because heaven knows they're coming up.
Yeah.
They're coming up.
Yeah.
But I think that's about it. If you are interested in the Egypt trip that's happening over Christmas time of 2025, feel free to reach out. We still have a few more spots. And if you're in the Charleston area and you want to rent out the Treehouse for a couple of months,
right?
It's on furnishedfinder.com. Or if you know of any nurses or other people visiting the area for a little bit, send them our way.
Yeah, if you're interested, just send us an email or make a contact with us, and we'll get you the information. So, let's see what else. I don't know. We may pop in here and there, as interesting things come up. But right now, it is, this will be the last one for a bit. But like I said, we've got 120 episodes. That's more than I thought we would put out. But go back and watch some of those.
Especially if you're new and you haven't seen them all.
Right.
Because they're all valid topics. Yeah. They're timely, no matter when you're watching them.
Right.
But I will say, we've always asked you to hit that notification bell. But if you do that now, then when we do post and when we're ready to come back online, you'll know about it. Because otherwise you might just have to catch us. Because it's not going to be every single Wednesday like it has been.
Right. And, go to the description of the videos, any one of the videos, and all of our contact information is there. Even links to my YouTube channel. Obviously, that's where the podcast is hosted. But I believe in there too. If not, I might put it in there. But my TikTok, I'm going to probably be doing that a little bit more frequently now that I'm settled again. Yeah, because I realize I haven't posted anything in a while, and but it's still getting a lot of views. There's still, I got almost 15,000 views on that one video. Yeah.
Dang.
So there's different ways you can get a hold of us. We'd like to hear from you. You're a dedicated group of viewers and watchers and followers, so thank you very much for that. I know Samantha would say the same. Thank you so much for, sticking with us and following through with us. But please stay in contact. You're like family. I mean, you've been around from the beginning, so.
And the one thing that will stay are the monthly channelings.
Yes. Yeah.
So the Friday after our Thursday night channeling, which is always the second Thursday of every month at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, US, it'll post up on YouTube that next Friday.
Yep. And if you want to join us on that Thursday evening, the second Thursday of the month, you can go to treehouse-events.com. That's our calendar, and you'll see it posted there, and you can just sign up, register, and you'll get the Zoom link in your email receipt. So,
yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
But at any rate, this is not goodbye.
Nope.
It's just a little hiatus.
Yep.
And we love all of you guys. We thank you so much for your consistency in watching and chiming in. Yep. And we will see you guys very soon.
See you guys.